They sell you a $50 bag of magic to turn your lawn green when the exact same result is sitting on a shelf at your local farm store for $2. Same nitrogen, same green. The only difference is a logo your grass will never see. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to get that same deep green color for pennies, plus the one mistake that turns cheap nitrogen into burnt brown streaks in a single afternoon. Stick around because I'm also going to tell you why the most popular lawn trick on the internet right now, the one half your neighbors are doing this week, does absolutely nothing. And I'll show you the chemistry that proves it. If you want more of this, hit subscribe now because what I'm about to show you is going to save you real money this season. Here's the thing nobody at the garden center wants you to think about. Every fertilizer bag on that shelf has 3 numbers stamped on the front: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Phosphorus builds roots. Potassium fights off stress and disease. But that deep, thick magazine cover green you're chasing, that's nitrogen, almost entirely nitrogen. A hungry lawn is a lawn that's low on nitrogen, plain and simple. Feed it nitrogen and the color comes back. That's not a secret. That's not even debated. It's just chemistry. So if that's true, and it is, then the only question that actually matters is this: what's the cheapest way on earth to get nitrogen into your soil? And the answer has been sitting in plain sight this whole time in a bag most homeowners have never even looked at. Ammonium sulfate. Farmers have used it for generations. You'll find it labeled 21-0-0, 21% nitrogen with 24% sulfur riding shotgun. A 50-pound bag costs around $26 at a farm supply store, and that one bag covers 10,000 square feet at the standard rate. Run the numbers on an average yard, and you're looking at about $2 to feed 1,000 square feet of grass. The premium bag with the pretty label wants 15, 20, sometimes more for that exact same patch. Not similar nitrogen, identical nitrogen. Your lawn has no way to tell them apart because there's nothing to tell apart. Now, before you go thinking this is some kind of scam or a trick the big brands are pulling on you, it's not. The extra money is buying something real. It's just probably not something you need. Premium bags coat their granules in a polymer or sulfur shell that breaks down slowly, spreading the feeding out over 6 to 8 weeks instead of dumping it all at once. That coating means you can be lazy. You can forget about it. You can spread it wrong and still not burn your lawn. What you're really paying 30 times more for isn't better nitrogen. It's permission to not pay attention. Ammonium sulfate doesn't give you that permission. It's raw, it's fast. It greens your lawn hard within days, and in exchange for saving your money, it asks exactly one thing of you. Follow a single rule. Break that rule, and this cheap bag will punish you for it. Follow it, and you just fed your entire lawn for the price of a coffee. But before I hand you that rule, I need to pull the rug out from under something you've probably already tried, or at least seen your neighbor try. Because if you've searched anything about greening up your lawn, you've already been fed the wrong answer, and it's everywhere. Epsom salt. Half the internet swears by it. Dissolve it in a sprayer, soak the lawn, wait for that deep green. Sounds harmless enough, right? Here's what that advice conveniently leaves out. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate, and magnesium only greens a lawn that's actually deficient in magnesium. Almost no lawn is. Michigan State, North Dakota State, Washington State, every major university extension office that's tested this has landed on the exact same conclusion. If your soil already has enough magnesium, and it almost certainly does, dumping more on top does nothing for the color. Nothing. And here's where it actually turns against you. Magnesium and calcium compete for uptake in your soil. Load up on magnesium and you can actually choke off the calcium your grass needs to thrive. So that trending trick isn't just useless. In some cases, it's working against you. Save the Epsom salt for your feet after a long day in the yard. It was never going to touch your grass. All right, here's the rule. The one thing that separates a deep green lawn from a scorched, streaky mess when you're using this cheap powder. Water it in immediately. Not later today. Not tomorrow morning. Immediately. Ammonium sulfate carries what's called a high salt index, a 69 on that scale, and that's high enough that if you spread it dry and just walk away, those granules start pulling moisture straight out of your grass blades. Within a day, you'll have brown burn streaks across your yard, and you'll be convinced cheap nitrogen doesn't work. That's the whole reason people are scared of this stuff. They skip the water, so here's your fix. Spread it, then within the hour, give it a deep, thorough soaking, enough water to carry those granules down off the blades and into the soil where the roots can actually use them. Do that and there's no burn, just green. Skip it on a hot afternoon and you'll find out the hard way exactly what that expensive, slow-release coating was protecting you from. Now let's talk rate, because this matters more than people think. Half a pound per 100 square feet. That works out to roughly 5 pounds across 1,000 square feet of lawn. Spread it as even as you possibly can, because ammonium sulfate greens up so fast that any uneven pass with the spreader shows up as a dark stripe within a week. A basic handheld spreader gets the job done. Nothing fancy required, even coverage, light hand, water it in hard. That's the entire method. Do it once in early summer, once again in late summer, and your lawn will look exactly like it came out of a $60 bag. It didn't. It came out of a scoop that cost you $2. Now here's where this gets genuinely interesting, because that sulfur riding along in the bag, the 24% nobody ever talks about, is quietly doing a second job for free. Sulfur lowers soil pH, and here's why that matters. Most struggling lawns, especially anywhere you're dealing with hard water, sit slightly too alkaline. In alkaline soil, your grass physically cannot absorb the iron that drives that deep, almost blue-green color, no matter how much nitrogen you throw at it. The iron can already be sitting right there in your soil, and your grass still can't reach it. The sulfur in ammonium sulfate nudges that pH back down over the course of a season, and that unlocks the iron that was there the whole time. So this cheap powder isn't just matching the premium bag. Give it a couple seasons and it's actually fixing a problem the premium bag charges you extra to patch with bottled iron supplements. You're getting the nitrogen, the green, and a slow soil correction, all out of the same $2 scoop. One more thing before you go, because this pairs with everything I just told you and it's almost free. If you want to push that color even further, mix a cup of plain blackstrap molasses into the water you're using to soak in your fertilizer. This isn't for the grass, it's for what's living underneath it. That sugar in molasses is pure carbon, and carbon feeds the soil bacteria responsible for breaking nitrogen down into a form your grass roots can actually drink up. A well-fed microbe population cycles nitrogen faster and holds onto it in the soil instead of letting a hard rain wash your investment straight down the storm drain. Here's the honest catch. This only works if those microbes are already established in your lawn, which in most cases they are. It's not a replacement for the nitrogen. It's a multiplier. It makes the nitrogen you just paid $2 for stretch further and last longer. A jug of molasses runs a few dollars and lasts you an entire season of feedings. So here's the whole system laid out. Ammonium sulfate for the nitrogen and the color. Watered in hard, immediately, so it feeds instead of burns. The sulfur working quietly in the background, correcting your soil pH. A splash of molasses feeding the microbes that feed your grass. You end up with the deepest, greenest lawn on your entire street, fed for less than the price of your morning coffee, while your neighbor is still hauling home that heavy, overpriced bag every single spring, paying 30 times more for a coating he never actually needed. If this changed how you're going to feed your lawn this year, do me a favor and send it to that one neighbor who's still buying the expensive bag every spring. Drop a comment and let me know if you're going to try this before your next feeding. And if you want more of this kind of stuff, straight facts, no fluff, no upsell, hit subscribe because there's a lot more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.